Okay, so today I wanted to make another masculine card, and I quite like the blues, so it is again really easy card. I'm sticking to just a couple of colours and some pattern paper. Here I'm using some polka dot stamps, and basically what I'm going to do is clear emboss these onto the darker blue card, so it'll leave like a raised slightly darker embossing. And I'm going to do it in two different sizes of polka dots as well, just to give it a bit more interest. This went a bit off screen because I didn't realise my camera was zoomed in, but hopefully you get the gist. I tried to show you again here. So the Versamark ink just picks up the embossing powder, and then here I've zoomed in a little bit to try and show you what happens when you emboss if you've never embossed before. And you'll see that all of a sudden the embossing powder will change and it'll go dark, and then you just move along and carry on down your stamped image, leaving that effect. And then I did exactly the same thing here with this different set of polka dots. I'm doing it on the edge of the paper because I want to use a punch out next. I need to punch these out using a circle punch, and so it's just easier if you do it along the edge of the paper. And again, clear emboss this. So they're both done now, and I'm using, I think that's a 1 inch punch, and I'm going to punch 4 from the smaller polka dots and 4 from the slightly larger ones, all from this all in this blue card. So I was just kind of laying it out there just to see, where it's all going to sit, and I measured how big that the 4x2 was, and I'm going to cut a background from this paper. I can't remember the measurements, I just kind of wing it, and I think I changed it again later anyway. I made it slightly smaller, but yeah, you can just see kind of vaguely measuring it, and then I'll cut out something along that size. That's why I really like this Fiskars guillotine, whatever you want to call it, paper cutter. So yeah, you can see here I'm just laying it out again, just double checking it all fits where I want it to fit. And I've done like a little pattern with the polka dot stamps. Now I'm just using my Fiskars threading water punch because I just want a little bit of a border along the bottom of my topper. I was going to use that, but it's actually cut really wonky, so I cut out another piece later on in the video. So here I just cut a strip off the threading water bit, and I used the blank strip as the top and the threading water strip as the bottom for the topper. So I decided to add a bit more interest by just rounding the corner off the edge of this of the top bit here. You'll see when I lay it down, so it looks like that. And again, I was just kind of playing around with it, so I did spend a lot of time playing around with where I was going to place things, and on this video, which I've cut most of it out. But yeah, so I'm using 3-dimensionals just to give a bit of lift to these polka dot circles, and I'm just popping them on one by one. So I won't show you all of them, but you can see I've done all 8 there. It's slightly longer than I needed, but it's okay because I can cut it off the edge later. And now I'm going to stick it to the card blank itself. I'm using quite a bit of adhesive here because I don't want this to fall off. and it's important it stays down. So yeah, I'm just lining up where I want it by using this top piece, and then I'll line up this topper next to that. So now I know where I want it, I can just line it all up, eye it up, and it's where I need it. And then I thought to add a little bit more interest, I would use some 3-dimensionals to lift this top edge off the paper as well. I thought it would finish it quite nicely. So I'm putting a couple of dimensionals on there. And here I'm just lining it up just to make sure it's all in the right place before I press it down, because these dimensionals are really sticky. And then the threading water punch out, I'm just sticking down here. I've already put some adhesive on the back, and I think that looks quite nice. Now it kind of hangs off the edge a little bit, so I'm just going to cut that down with my scissors. This gives it a nice finish and saves you having to measure it all up completely accurately in the first place. So that's the main bulk of the card done. Then I just want to put the sentiment in the corner. This is a stamp I made myself actually. I'm just using a font. I can't remember what font it was, but I downloaded it from a free font site. And I was going to emboss it so it would give a nice raised impression. So I'm using blue ink here. I actually didn't like the stamp that it came out with in the end, so I did again stamp over it with some black ink, but I didn't show you that here because I had to get my head right over the work to make sure I was stamping in the same place. But it just gave it a bit more definition because that blue ink wasn't really dark enough even after embossing. But hopefully it doesn't look too obvious when you look at the finished card. But again, I'm just showing you the embossing, and you see how it darkens ever so slightly once the embossing powder melts. And I cut out the top corner to mimic the other corner using my corner rounder. Thanks for watching. Bye.